Hello, good morning. Welcome to JoyNews Desk. We're coming to you live from our studios in Kokomleme. Coming up this morning, Sanda Hospital, originally designed to be a haven of care, stands in a state of disrepair among a host of other public health facilities scattered across the country. Be our guest in our new feature series dubbed Ghana's Sick Hospitals, where we take a closer look at the unsettling realities in Ghana's healthcare. New Patriotic Party National Executive Council disqualifies 17 aspirants from contesting in the January 27 parliamentary elections and also puts on hold the Nshiaso constituency elections over a fresh court case.
For the number of people who have been disqualified from contesting in the primaries scheduled for 27 January are 17.
The Senior Staff Association of Public Universities in Ghana declare a nationwide strike starting today. We'll hear from the group, which says its action is as a result of what it describes as government's persistent disregard for welfare of their members.
The Senior Staff Association, Universities of Ghana, and the Federation of University Senior Staff Association, FISAG, announced with deep regret the beginning of an industrial strike action by all senior staff across public universities in Ghana.
We have details of all of this, including business, coming up shortly. Many thanks for choosing us. In the heart of the Bolsa North Municipality of the Upper East region, the Sanda Hospital, originally designed to be a haven of care, stands in a state of disrepair. Whenever it rains, the hospital's roofs betray their duty, leaking profusely. The structure has not escaped the ravages of time, displaying gaping cracks that question its integrity. Health workers and patients say they find themselves in an unsafe environment. For a closer look into this uncertain reality, join my colleague Jojo Kobina in the first episode of Ghana's Sick Hospitals.
It is an ultimate walk of shame for any visitor to the Sanda Hospital in the Bolsa North District of the Upper East region. If you were blindfolded, dumped here in the corridor, and a cloth is pulled from your eyes, you could never guess that this place is a hospital. The walls are dirty and the paint almost peeling off. The ceiling is moldy, greenish brown and rotting away. The corridors are dark and dingy. The medical superintendent of the hospital, Dr. Emmanuel Opoku, is unhappy with the state of the hospital, but he's also very worried about the safety of nurses and patients because of the gaping cracks in the walls.
When it rains, almost all the walls leak, including the medical soup's office. And during rainy seasons, it makes seeing patients very difficult because sometimes you need to get to a safe place to cater for the patient. And we'll be grateful if we could get help.
As the head of the facility, he works with a news team to show the dangerous state of the facility. A substantial and alarming crack traverses the length of the wall, extending from floor to ceiling.
So this was formerly used as a dispensary, but because of the nature of the cracks, they have to move to the other side.
Every part of the almost 94-year-old hospital leaks badly.
Why are you still working in a place that you don't feel safe? And if I ever had an accident or something happened to me and I need to visit the hospital immediately, this is where I'll be rushed to. I will just quickly rush into the consulting room 1 to see exactly what is happening there.
This room is where patients receive care from doctors and physician assistants. But a cursory glance shows the room is not hospitable. Just like the corridor, the walls are crying for a fresh coat of paint. The leather upholstery of the chair for patients is badly torn, exposing a dirty brown cushion. The state of the furniture is so bad that you would rather consider standing to receive diagnosis. The floor tiles are broken, weak, and unsafe. Although the state of the consulting room is nothing to write home about, physician assistant Erica Yariga has bigger worries.
Safety, as you all know, it's a universal demand. It's a basic, fundamental thing. But safety in my consulting room with what I'm seeing, of course, no. However, once we are mandated to give services, we have to sit under such conditions to be able to render services to less privileged. So safety, I'll say no.
Mary is nearing 70 and a native of Sanda. She witnessed the hospital lose its luster over the years. She's passionate about the children's ward, which has also deteriorated. So, we entered the children's ward to get a sense of her concerns. The ceiling paints a perfect picture of neglect. Mold growth is evident, and this can be attributed to leakage caused by persistent rain. A fetid, unpleasant odor wafts through the children's ward, further emphasizing the impact of the water damage. The wooden window frame shows clear evidence of decay, with sections displaying a spongy texture in some areas, leaving the frame structurally compromised. Residents of Sandema are not happy with the state of their hospital. 45-year-old Jerry Atimbi Akanawe leads a group called Common Interest to address some of these challenges. But resolving the poor state of the hospital is beyond them, so they want the government to step in.
We've done a lot about this district and some department. But for the hospital, it is something that when we heard about the hospital state, we came to the management to find out the problems, and we realized that the problems were beyond the hospital itself. Most of the offices, from the OPD to even the doctor's office to the children's ward and other places, are all just in a bad condition.
In fact, I managed to pull him aside to have one-on-one on him. And he said I should write. I did. I wrote the letter to him, to the Minister of Health, concerning our hospital, the sorry nature of our hospital. It is so terrible. I was pleading with him if he can put us on Agenda 111. And then he said for now, as at that time, they will look at it, so I should write. And I've written the letter. But I'm hoping that something good will come out of it. And then at the meeting with head of department and then donor partners back at Bolga Regional Coordinating Council, I made a cry about the hospital.
The Municipal Chief Executive, Vida Akantagriwen Anab, is supposed to provide solutions to this problem, but the Municipal Assembly is broke. With less than a year for her tenure to expire, she has one wish.
If I have one wish, I want government to work on our hospital. It's now a municipal hospital. That is the referral center. And it's not only for Bilsa. Where Bilsa South, they refer here. We have Kasana and Kana. West, they refer here. We have our neighbors, the Mampulises, they refer. It's a referral center. And so they should work on our hospital from our people because we are suffering.
She hoped that the government would build a new hospital under the ambitious project of constructing 111 district hospitals, but Bulsa North was not considered.
So for the hospital there, like I said, that was where I was working as a midwife. And I'm now on retirement. And looking at the hospital, it is just not good. I am pleading with the Minister of Health and then to Dr. Nshiansare, if they can come to our aid. It's so sorry. The people are really suffering because of the hospital. Yes. And because of that, so many nurses are running away from the hospital.
Well, as the MC and others complain about the poor state of the hospital, some patients question the essence of your hospital, which cannot provide simple gauze and other essentials for dressing wounds.
Yaba, yenye yedu yusu. Menaya meya, mebeya, just me to baby ba. Sana yen maya man. Zezuzu. Yen munne ghost. Yen benenji. Yen kwatu. Shewi. Ane when say
Boss.
What are we?
What's it?
No, I could talk benenji. They are the back cut house and listening. And then they are ghosts. The wing and I just saw talk.
Mary says although she has a valid national health insurance card, nurses always tell them to bring the supplies because the government has not fully reimbursed them. What do you call a hospital that cannot provide simple supplies like gauze for dressing wounds? A sick hospital in need of healing. Jojo Kobner, JoyNews.
Sick hospitals indeed. And I've been joined by Minta Akando, who is a ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament. Ms. Akando, how does this strike you looking at the videos there?
Let me say good morning to your listeners, and just to be very honest with you that I am not surprised, but to commend Jojo who did this wonderful work. Because you see, I am telling you, I am not surprised because most of our hospitals in this country are in a very terrible state. They are in a very, very terrible state. I think that this is even the tip of the iceberg. Okay? And so, especially the district hospitals we have in this country. And even in Greater Accra, when you go to a hospital like the Rich Hospital, you cannot boast of a single imaging equipment in Rich Hospital, the regional hospital. And going forward, it's going to be worse. It's going to be worse because now government has uploaded the electricity or the utility bills to the hospitals to pay themselves. So the internally generated funds that could even be used to intervene in these matters are going to be very, very, very limited because they are going to use most of these internally generated funds to pay utilities. You know, so we have a lot of these scenarios in this country across the length and breadth of this country. So I'm not surprised at all. I am only happy that the media has started exposing some of these weaknesses in our health sector so that it will be brought to the front burner and we will all talk about them. This is not the only story. It is like that in a lot of hospitals in this country. A lot of hospitals in this country. In fact, the almighty Kolebu, when you go to Kolebu, as I speak to you now, you go to some wards and you find some roofs leaking. You know, so in the health sector, sometimes when I talk about issues, it is not for any reason, but to bring it to the front burner for the government to pay attention to the health sector. Because all is not well. How can you say to the 111 hospitals and the ones that we have already in the system cannot be maintained? And you know, at the end, the truth of the matter is that we have a very bad maintenance culture. Very bad maintenance culture. So I am not surprised at all. I am not. The budget we approved recently, we have the lowest capex in the history of Ghana. Lowest in the health sector, lowest. So you cannot be sure that any money will be invested in infrastructure as far as this year is concerned. So we have a very terrible issue at hand, and I wish that the media will emulate this example and then go ahead to profile most of the health facilities we have in this country. And you understand what I'm talking about. So for me, I'm not surprised. I've seen some of them with my naked eye. And we keep talking about them.
But how is it that hospitals that are supposed to take care of sick people and provide a healing environment are themselves sick?
Because we are not paying attention to them. Because the government is not investing in those hospitals. Because we are siphoning money from the hospitals instead of us to, in fact, invest in the hospital. I speak to you now. Look, the Ghana Health Service has brought a policy that every health facility must rather bring money to the center. Money. So whatever they get out of the general generation fund, the facilities must pay money to the center. Instead of government investing in the health sector. So if you go to most of these hospitals, they don't have equipment. You just see this is hospital, but hey, I've cited an example. A whole race hospital, Greater Accra Regional Hospital. Go there and see. I disguised myself and I went there, and they had to refer every patient who had to do some kind of scan or what. They don't have a single imagery equipment in the race hospital. So if race hospital in Accra is going through this, can you imagine what Jaboto Hospital will be going through? So it's like that. I am only praying that this time it is not the ranking member in the minority on the health committee visiting uncompleted and abandoned hospitals or paying supply visits to some health facilities, but the media is also coming in to expose some of these things. So now it is not me saying it. And that's why I'm glad, at least, I have found some voice that we are bringing the health issues in the country out for all of us to address. Sanda is not the only example. And as I speak to you now, people who are listening to me from the various, corners of the country, especially health workers, will attest to this fact. They will attest to this fact. It's a very terrible situation at hand.
And as you yourself indicate that the Sanda Hospital tells the story of many others in the country. And this is why Ghanaians feel that the government, parliamentarians, and all other stakeholders have failed us. How do we deal with these challenges, starting from Parliament, where you work?
Okay, fantastic. Now, in the three arms of government, we all have our responsibilities and limitations. In as much as we approve budgets in the House, we are not the spending officer. We don't spend. We don't have the public purse. Okay? So we in Parliament can only draw government attention to some of these issues. Number two, even in the case of the budget that we approve, you cannot add, you can only slash. So, for example, if there's a budget of, let's say, 1 billion Ghana cedis to be invested in the already existing health facilities, you cannot say, because it is not enough, government must increase it. You can say, oh, we think that it is too much, so let's reduce it. Meanwhile, what is going to the health sector, it is a peanut. No, you see, per the Abuja Declaration, we are supposed to spend not less than 15% of the national budget every year in the health sector. This year, we barely get 7%, including the health insurance budget. Okay, so when they bring a budget of that nature, you can only see that it is not enough. How then can you cut it down? How then can you slash it down? So don't blame somebody's responsibility on the wrong person. We have a government in place. We have a government that takes our taxes. They must put our resources to judicious use. Okay? For example, as I speak to you now, government says that they are building 111 Agenda 111 hospital. It is merely for the rhetoric and the political agenda. It doesn't make sense. I am not saying that we don't need 111 hospital, but if you don't have the money, and from where I sit, they don't have the money. And so the little that you have for the past 2 years, if we think that small money can do for, let's say, 10 hospitals, why can't we concentrate on the 10 hospitals? We put the 10 hospitals to good use, and then raise another money, raise another space. We are tackling another 10 hospitals. But now, if you visit the various sites, we have thrown money out there. We are stuck, and we don't have any use of the money we have thrown out there. So it's up to government to put our resources to good use, to take the right issues, and we as parliamentarians will support government. I would always agree with you when you say that we have been quiet and we are not talking about these issues. And for that one, I don't think you can blame us for that, because we are consistently, if any committee in Parliament is out, I don't think they'll be the health committee in Parliament. We are consistently been raising issues from coverage to abandoned hospitals to almost every angle as far as the health sector is concerned.
Raising issues is not the same as holding government accountable.
You are not listening to me.
What would your committee do?
Listen. If you listen to me, you are not listening to me. If you listen to me, you understand. I am telling you that everybody and every arm of government has its responsibility. My responsibility is to raise the issue and draw government's attention. It is not my responsibility to spend in the sector.
Mr. Kando, Parliament has the responsibility to summon the minister to answer questions.
Oh, so you haven't seen the minister on the floor of the House answering questions before? Countless occasions. In fact, including constituting a committee and the minister responsible for health appearing before the committee. Have you forgotten about the almighty Sputnik issue? All the time, like General Hospital, the the AIDS drug issue, countless, and some of course are not following. Countless, my sister. Countless. If you go to Parliament and you check the Hansard, you realize that the health minister is one of the ministers who comes to answer questions on the floor of the House often. So we will do our part, but you cannot blame me. You cannot blame any member of Parliament for not spending in the health sector. That is not our responsibility. We don't have that power. And we cannot arrogate to ourselves those powers. But our powers are what I am telling you. We make laws, regulations, legislation in the sector. We approve the budget. And I have told you our limitations when it comes to approving the budget.
Fair enough.
It's entirely the responsibility of the executive to invest in the sector.
Fair enough, Mr. Kando. I mean, aside the hospitals that you yourself have gone round to check, this is an addition to what you already know. What will your committee do to help resolve this issue?
Carefully. It will be wrong, and it should be, waste of time for me to assure you that, hey, leave it to me, and that we are going to build or we are going to invest as a committee, as Parliament, we are going to invest in that hospital. No. What you can do, you know where I am? I don't even know about this story until about 5 minutes ago. And when you called me and you drew my attention to it, I was willing to stick to it. Why? Because I want to bring this issue to the front burner. So when Parliament resumes, we will take that issue up together with a member of Parliament from the area. And you know how we deal with our issues. Not until we get results, we don't relax. That's what if you have followed the health committee very well, that's how we handle all issues. So I can assure you that those that falls within our powers or our duties will perform those aspects. We'll fire questions, we'll bring the minister to come and answer questions with respect to that particular hospital, and we'll take it from there. But what I can assure you is that the issue is just a tip of the iceberg.
I'm grateful for your time, Kabna Minta Akando. His ranking member on the Health Committee of Parliament. This is a matter we'll be pursuing, especially when Parliament resumes, and we'll also be getting the Health Ministry to respond to some of these questions. On our election headquarters, the New Patriotic Party has disqualified some 17 aspirants from contesting in the January 27 party parliamentary primaries. The decision was taken at a National Executive Council meeting on Wednesday. General Secretary of the party, Jason Kodia Frimpong, has given a breakdown of the numbers in an address to the media. After the meeting, he revealed the elections in the Nshiaeso constituency have also been put on hold.
National Executive Committee took the report from the vetting committee and the National Appeals Committee, and also took notice of some development after the vetting. So as it stands now, we have total number of 376 men and women who picked forms to contest. The new development is that we have one court case. The party has been served with a writ and also an application for interlocutory injunction with respect to Nshiaeso. And for that matter, elections in Nshiaeso constituency has been stand down until the court process has been addressed. For the number of people who have been disqualified from contesting in the primaries scheduled for 27 January are 17. Those who have been cleared to contest by the National Executive Committee are 325. Those who have stepped down are 3. Those who are going unopposed are 30. So in all, we have 376. The details will be made available through the press release the National Party will issue any moment from now.
The General Secretary also says the party has found a way around the suspended Sunyani East constituency. He gave a green light for elections to be held there as well. A high court in Sunyani in May 2022 ordered the party to set aside the album used for the constituency elections following an injunction by some aggrieved members. But Justin Kodia says the party has found a way out.
The National Executive Committee also talked about matter pending in Sunyani East. As you may recall, the High Court annulled the album of Sunyani East constituency. So today, upon several deliberations by the National Executive Committee and in our attempt to ensure peace and stability in Sunyani East constituency, the National Executive Committee has directed that the constituency album that existed in 2018, which has the polling station executives, is the album that we are going to use in this current dispensation. And where people have died or people have traveled, the National Party, in consultation with the regional party and the committee that has been established, will do elections in those vacant positions. Again, the National Executive Committee shall appoint people to act as acting electoral area coordinators and acting constituency executive to further notice. Finally, I'll go back to the Nshiaeso constituency that I made a statement that the party has received a writ of sermon and application for interlocutory injunction with respect to Mr. Kennedy Kwesi Kankam, and the party legal team will respond accordingly in due course.
Former parliamentary candidate for the NPP in the Fege constituency in the Greater Accra region, Eunice Lassie, says some constituency and regional executives are so happy to see her going. She says despite her commitment to the party, actions of these individuals speak volume is the reason she has decided to quit and go independent. She said the situation enables her to respond to calls of going independent. Eunice Lassie was speaking at Sige as she prepares to go as an independent candidate in the 2024 general elections. Here's more in this report.
For former NPP parliamentary candidate in the Sege constituency, Eunice Lassie, her decision to quit the party and go independent is born out of a number of factors, including deliberate attempts by some constituency and regional executives to frustrate and silence her, alleged manipulation and internal wrangling. Despite efforts to address her concerns at the regional level, she feels some individuals in the party are bent on kicking her out to kill her political dreams. But she says calls by her followers in the constituency continue to give her hope that all is not lost. According to Eunice Lassie, there is no turning back at this point.
With all what is going on, I finally, officially, have to write to the necessary officers in the party to inform them of my decision to resign from the party. The MPP Constitution reading Article 3, 6 clause 1. A member shall be ceased to be a member by written and signing letter addressed to her party or constituency chairperson, declaring his or her intention to cease as a member and forthwith surrounding his or her membership card. I take this opportunity to officially, I want to declare my intention to contest as an independent candidate.
Meanwhile, Eunice Lassie says the constituency deserves a better representation in Parliament and her decision to go independent is in order. She touches on the need for a stronger voice for development in the area.
I won't say he has not done well, but as an MP, why are you there? You are there to lobby for your people. I see the DCs as facilitators, you understand? You go there to lobby, so you should have a lobbying skills. You can't go to the parliament to represent people, you have to voice it out. For instance, the DCE don't go to parliament, so you as an MP, you would tell the people there that this is what you want. So I think that the MP has a very key role to play in terms of development. I know the good people of Sege constituency are fully in support of my decision. And they know Eunice Lassie will never gamble with the development of this constituency. So as a candidate or an independent candidate, and if I'm being voted for as NP, they know very well I'm going to speak on their behalf. They have that conviction that Eunice Lassie is going to do something for them.
For the constituents, Eunice Lassie is going in their best interest.
From the NPP, let's get to the NDC because flag bearer of the National Democratic Congress, John Dramani Mahama, has promised to actually review the Disability Act to respond to the needs of persons with disability. This will only be possible if the NDC is successful in staging a comeback in the 2024 elections. Mr. Mahama believes the present act has done little to ease the burden on persons with disability. Nana Ojima visited the Volta region with the flag bearer of the NDC and has filed this report.
In all town hall meetings, representatives of these groups are given the opportunity to share their challenges, which will feed into the party's manifesto. Though there is an existing act responsible for the protection of the rights of persons with disability, it is yet to have positive impact on the group. To them, access to public transportation and buildings remain a persistent challenge, though the Act prescribes accessibility of these areas. Flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, expressed worry about delay in implementation after a participant in a wheelchair was unable to access the platform at the hall.
It is time to review the Disability Act. It was passed in 2006, and so we need to look at the Disability Act, look at the gaps in implementation. For instance, we presented this electronic wheelchair to our brother here. I can't see a ramp. Is it stairs over there? Stairs. What of there? Stairs or ramp? Steps. And so we gave him the new electronic wheelchair. But there's no way he could have come up here to even come and shake my hand. And that's why I had to get up and go and shake his hand down there. And yet the Disability Act says that all public facilities must be made disability friendly and must be accessible to persons with disability. And so we need to review that act and make sure that we enforce the provisions of the act so that they also can live a comfortable life.
Irregular release of the common fund and the allocation to these groups have plunged some members into poverty. John Mahama explains the plans of the NDC to reverse the present order if voted into power.
If we say we are suffering, then these our brothers and sisters are suffering 10 times more than us. The District Assembly's Common Fund, that we put aside a percentage to cater for their needs in the various districts, is not coming. And aside from that, the MPP administration has reduced the Common Fund from 7% to 5%. So the amount of money that they are entitled to is a percentage of the Common Fund. And so if you reduce it from 7 to 5, then it means the amount of money they are getting is less. And so, aside from the fact that the money is less, the frequency too is not coming. The District Assembly Common Fund is not being released. And what is being released is very little because government has centralized most of the procurement. And so instead of sending the money to the districts to do their own procurement, they procure the items in the center. And so these are all things we would look at when we come.
For JoyNews, Nanaya Ochima reporting.
Always stay on the election headquarters on the JoyNews channel for everything elections. Let's get on to other stories. A Senior Staff Association of the Public Universities in Ghana have declared an indefinite strike over what it describes as the government's failure to address their concerns regarding pensions and the reversal of an illegal cancellation of their overtime allowance. The group, in conjunction with the Federation of University Senior Staff, say many of their calls to have the situation addressed have gone unheeded to. National Chairman of the Association, Isaac Donko, told reporters at a news conference that the aggrieved unions are withdrawing their services.
Staff Association, University of Ghana, and the Federation of University Senior Staff Association, FUSAG, announced with deep regret the beginning of an industrial strike action by all senior staff across public universities in Ghana. This avoidable decision has been occasioned by government continuing disregard for the welfare of university senior staff concerning critical issues of pensions and conditions of service. At the 17th National Executive Council meeting, held on 25th of November 2023, SSA UOG learned with great shock and disappointment that government has failed upon several prompts to release the Tier 2 pension contributions of our members to the Board of Trustees for effective management since February 2023. Despite our immediate plea to the government for the release of these funds, they have refused to comply, leading to this unfortunate situation. Government has failed on several occasions to release our pension contributions on time. The Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and the Ghana Tertiary Education Commission directed university management to cut off overtime allowance for weekend and holiday work, in which creates hardship for our members. This unilateral alteration of our conditions of service is against the Labour Act and our agreed upon conditions of service. The unions, that is FUSAG and Senior Staff Association, therefore demand the following. 1, government must, as matter of agency, pay all outstanding contributions together with the appropriate interest from March to December 2023 using 3% penalty rate as stated by the Pensions Act at 766 section 64. 2, government must, as matter of agency, do the recalculation of our accrued interest on Tier 2 pension from 2010 to 2016 as agreed upon in the Memorandum of Understanding signed between the association and government on July 25th, 2022. Again, we are also demanding that all outstanding arrests should be paid to our retired pensioners. Lastly, we also demand immediate withdrawal of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission and GTEC letters dated November 7th and 20th, 2023, respectively, which illegally eliminated overtime allowance for senior staff of public universities. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, we hereby officially declare an indefinite strike action across Ghana without any further delay.
There are heightened calls for industries and other commercial establishments in Ghana to invest more in cleaner and renewable energy sources. This and more we'll be bringing you shortly in Business.
Hi, welcome to Business. My name is Darryl Kwao. There are heightened calls for industries and other commercial establishments in Ghana to invest more in cleaner and renewable energy sources. By Country Director of Daystar Power Group Limited, Victor Ezewonko, says whilst companies can maximize productivity through varied energy mix, renewable energy sources like solar would ensure green, sustainable operations. He spoke at the commissioning of Ghana's first biggest rooftop solar installation in the commercial and industrial sector. Here's more in this report.
Recent power fluctuations in the country is impacting heavily on productivity in many commercial and industrial establishments. Although Ghana is poised to increase its energy mix to renewable sources, many small and medium industries continue to depend solely on fossil fuel sources. Country Director of Daystar Power Group Limited, Victor Ezewonko, is encouraging businesses to adopt cleaner energy sources to safeguard the environment while ensuring sustainability.
Solar helps complement what you have. It can help bridge the power gap, whether it's solar combination with batteries or grid side. It also protects our environment in reducing carbon emissions. In some cases, it can also provide you with affordable power to help support your business. So we think it's very important for more businesses to do it. We need to move to more sustainable practices.
Under a contract agreement, Daystar Power Group installed the country's first biggest rooftop solar power at Ryder Iron and Steel Limited in Ghana. The installation is a 4.3 megawatt photovoltaic solar system supplying power to scraps and production units of the company. The company is optimistic the installation would enhance their current production capacity from 100,000 tons to a rated capacity of 300,000 tons per annum. Walid Al-Alami is director of Ryder Iron and Steel Ghana Limited.
When we started this factory, one of the commitments we had with the World Bank and the IFC is to try to go as green as possible, to try to be as sustainable as possible. So it's a big part of our commitment towards having a sustainable operation. And they came in to add those two things. One is helping us increase our capacity by providing more power. Two, reducing our reliance on non-green or fossil fuel source of energy.
The solar installation is expected to reduce carbon emissions at the company by about 50,000 tons over a 20-year lifespan. Caleb Bennett Dugan is the project engineer at Daystar Power Group Limited.
This installation comprises of an external transformer. So we have a smart transformer unit. So with this transformer, the inverters are giving us a voltage of 800 volts. We will be step up to the 33, and this is what's supplied to the clients. So as of now, we are doing close to 3 megawatts of power currently. See, we are taking 17% of their electricity needs when solar is running from morning till evening. This is going to support them by reducing their energy costs. So at the end of the month, their bills will reduce, and also they'll be running on green electricity, green power, which will promote their sustainability goals.
After the first phase of the installation project, Daystar anticipates completion of the 8-megawatt solar system under its partnership with the company. For JoyNews, my name is Emmanuel Bright Kweku.
Our government's quest to sustain inflation decline to reach 15% by end of year may be under threat. It follows reports of some commercial transport operators working to increase fares from Monday. Here's George Affe with more.
The Ghana Revenue Authority will in the coming days start enforcing the 5 new tax acts. Key among them is the VAT Amendment Bill, which may result in motor premiums going up by more than 30%. Now, this may force transport operators to also adjust fares, which may end up increasing the cost of foodstuffs that are transported to the market. This could also result in the cost of living going up, which may impact on inflation rate. This because the Ghana Statistical Service recently indicated that if government wants to check inflation rate, it may have to focus on reducing the cost of foodstuffs on the market. December inflation rate currently stands at 23.2%, but there's another development that could impact inflation rate badly going forward. That is the VAT on utility tariffs. Joy Business is also learning that due to these developments and threat to inflation rate rising, the Bank of Ghana could be forced to freeze any significant reduction in the policy rate, a move that might go a long way to increase the cost of credit. Some have argued that if government is really committed to reducing inflation rate in the coming months, then maybe it might have to hold on to some of these taxes taking effect in the coming days.
All right, that's it for this segment. News Desk returns after the break.
And as I draw the curtains this morning, my name is Aisha Ibrahim. You log on to myjoinline.com for more of the news and updates of all the developing stories. See you again at 12.